Hi friends, welcome to my channel. Today we will see how to configure IPsec VPN between Palo Alto and SRX firewall. So let's get started. So let me explain you the scenario first. For simplicity, I have kept all the interfaces in trust zone on the both side, Palo Alto as well as SRX, so that we can cut short the additional configuration. Okay, let's try to implement first on Palo Alto. As you can see, this is my GUI, and let me check how many interfaces do I have here. So as you can see, I have already configured Ethernet 1/1 with IP 192.168.225.1. So I have assigned this interface to a default VR, and it belongs to trust zone. As you can see, the IP address here is 192.168.225.1. And in advanced feature, I have assigned this interface. I have attached the interface to this particular monitor profile so that I can check the connectivity. All right, Ethernet 1/1 is okay. Let's try to configure. Okay, so for the internal site, I will use loopback, and I will assign 4.4.4.4 to that loopback interface. So as you can see, I already have a loopback in trust zone belonging to default VR with IP 4.4.4.4. This is also done. I guess I'll have to add a tunnel interface. Okay, so let me assign this to the same VR and same zone. So now my tunnel interface is having 5.5.5.5. Okay, so loopback interface, Ethernet. In the zone, you can see I have assigned all the three interfaces to the same zone. Let me check the VR. Okay, by default, you have a default VR, whereas I have attached these three interfaces to the default VR. Let me check whether do I have any static route inside the default VR or not. Okay, look like I don't have any static route inside the default VR. I'm sorry guys, it's very slow now. Okay, and let us first create a phase one proposal, which is in Palo Alto. You can call it as Ike crypto policy. Let me name it as P1. All right, I have named it as P1. Let's add a DH group. And let me use SHA-1 here. And for encryption, I will use dash. So now we have phase 1 proposal, and now we'll configure phase 2 proposal. Which is also called as IPsec profile. So I'm going to use ESP for encryption. I will use 3-dash. For authentication, I will again use SHA-1. And I don't want to use PFS, so I will disable it. Okay, let me create a gateway. Name it as 2corp. My exit interface will be an exit 1/1, as you can see in the diagram here. Peer IP address is this one. And I'm going to use pre-shared key for the authentication instead of certificate. So it's going to be a simple pre-shared key, I would say net screen. So if you don't put anything in this local identity, so by default, the 5th and the 6th packet in main mode phase 1 will be having the pure IPs in the ID payload. So if you want to change that, you can go ahead and do the changes. But by default, it'll be having a pure IPs in the ID payload on 5th and 6th packet. So let me check the other thing. I don't need NAT traversal for this particular scenario. I don't need that peer detection. Okay, the gateway is done. So this is the tunnel interface that I created. So I have to add the Ike gateway that I've created. So you can see here, this was the one that I created. So this is the phase 2 profile. I don't need replay protection. So in the proxy ID, I don't have any configuration. So by default, we'll take source any, destination any, and service any. Okay, and one more thing, we have to configure a static route pointing to tunnel.1. Let me do that. because we want a route pointing to in order to reach this subnet, we need a route pointing to tunnel interface. So let me do that. So now I have the static route as well. Let me cross check everything. Okay, this is good. This is my internal subnet. All right, and let me commit the changes. It'll take some time to commit the changes. Let's wait for the device to do the changes, and then we will move on to SRX device to do the configuration. In the meantime, let me just show you how to do it via CLI. So first of all, you have to get into the configuration mode. So if you want to create a zone, so you have to type in this command, set zone, and then the zone name, and then network command, and then you have to include the interfaces. So if you have multiple interfaces, you can input the interfaces name inside the braces. And if you have, all right, and then if you want to create a VR using CLI, then you have to get into the network hierarchy. And then the VR name, and then you have to type in the interfaces that you want to include. The same way, if you have multiple interfaces, you can type in the interfaces inside the braces. So in order to configure an IP on our interface. You can get into the interface, Ethernet 1/1, layer 3, and then the IP. You can assign the IP. And if you want to see the interfaces, then you can type in this command, which will show you all the configure interfaces. All right, so let's move to SRX device. Okay, so G0/0/0 unit 0 is having IP of 225.3 already configured, and our loopback is again having an IP 3.3.3.3/24. Let's check our tunnel interface. So we'll have to create a tunnel interface. Let's do it via GUI, and then we will see how to configure it in CLI. I'm going to assign it to a trust. Either you can number this tunnel interface in Juniper devices, or you can unnumber it with any of the L3 interfaces. So let me just number it. So this unnumbered basically means that you want to use the other physical interfaces IP to make this tunnel interface behave as a layer 3 interface. That is the basics. And rest of the things look okay. We don't need any routing protocol, so okay. So all the interfaces lies in trust zone, as you can see. Let me check the policy, the intra-zone policy within trust zone. Okay, by default, there is a policy that allows intra-zone traffic, so we don't have to do any changes. Okay, let us configure VPN. So we start with proposal. Let me take a reference of Palo Alto, because this should match on both the ends. So in Juniper devices, if you set the lifetime as 28800, and if the other end is also a Juniper device with higher value, so in Juniper, by default, the phase one lifetime will be taken as the maximum value. I'm talking about Juniper scenarios where all the devices are Juniper firewall. And I don't know about the Palo Alto, how it will behave, so I have configured the same value on both the ends. Okay, it looks pretty same. 3 SHA-1, SHA-1, group 2. Okay, so we are done with our phase one proposal. So let me create an Ike policy, which will use the phase one proposal. It's going to be a main mode. You have to type in the same pre-shared keyword you have given here during the configuration. So my pre-shared key was net screen. Main mode, phase one proposal. Okay. So now we'll create a gateway that will use the Ike proposal. External interface will be G0/0/0 unit 0, and I'm going to use version 1. Like I said, if you keep it Default, it'll take the peer IPs as the ID payload. We don't need XORT, we don't need a DPD. This is the peer IP. As you can see here, this IP. So we are done with phase 1. Let's try to configure phase 2 in the same way. Okay, I guess we have a phase 2 proposal. Let me check. What is it? ESP. Okay, ESP. SHA-1. SHA-1. And we are not using any PFS. Let us try to create a new policy instead of using this policy. Well, we'll name it as P2, phase 2. We are going to use ESP, SHA ESP 3-des, SHA ESP 3-des, 3600, okay. Let me remove this one, create a new one. We don't need PFS, so we will not choose any group. As you can see here, no PFS. I'm going to use the user-defined proposal, the IPsec policy, without any PFS. Now the phase 2 is done. We'll have to add a VPN. IPsec policy P2, and we have to bind it to tunnel interface ST0 unit 1. So I want this to come up immediately, and then that's it. Let me cross check everything. So the interfaces are G0/0/0 unit 0 belongs to trust. Okay, loopback. All right. Okay, the policy is there. So we have to set a route that I have already, I guess. So you can see that there is already a route pointing to this interface, this subnet, and I'll use this particular tunnel interface. Let me commit this. Let me check the route. Okay. All right, as you can see that I'm able to send the traffic through the tunnel interface. Let me try the other way. First of all, let me check. So this is a phase 1, which is up. This is the phase 2, as you can see here. And the traffic is also working. Let me get back to the other firewall. So the source will be 4 and the destination will be, as you can see, I'm able to ping the remote subnet and traffic is going through the VPN tunnel. If you want to see the additional information, you can see it here. That's it, guys. For more updates, please do subscribe to my channel so that you get the update whenever I post the video. Thank you for your time. Have a great day. Bye.